One of the most common questions I've heard lately is, what do we do about our friends and family who still support MAGA? How do we help them understand the scope of the harm the Trump administration is causing? And how do we get them to care about people outside their immediate social circles? In my last video, I talked about something called moral circles, which refers to how far we extend our concern to others. Liberals, on average, tend to extend concern more broadly, including to distant groups and marginalized communities, while conservatives, especially MAGA supporters, tend to concentrate concern more tightly around self, family, and close community. So the question becomes, can these moral circles be broadened? And if so, how? And research suggests that moral circles can shift, but not easily and not quickly. And we need to understand that changing MAGA loyalty is not primarily a persuasion problem. It's not a matter of figuring out how to deliver a perfectly crafted, level-headed argument. In fact, research shows that correcting misinformation can sometimes cause people to double down on their original beliefs instead. A much stronger driver of political loyalty and moral frameworks is societal context and leadership. When leaders reinforce shared identity across groups, social boundaries tend to expand. When leaders reinforce division, boundaries tend to narrow. To give a concrete example of this, think about what happened in Minnesota. Federal immigration enforcement escalated into an open conflict between state and federal officials and between ICE and local communities. When national leadership encourages adversarial and violent enforcement policies and overrides local cooperation, it creates strong and lasting division between groups. And the same dynamic appears in rhetoric about marginalized communities. When immigrants are described as invaders or criminals, or when transgender individuals are framed as threats or predators, this repeated threat framing normalizes exclusion and narrows moral concern. And there's also the issue of scarcity. The Trump administration has pushed policies that largely benefit the wealthy and erode social safety nets. And research shows that when inequality grows and access to basic needs feels unstable, survival can begin to feel competitive. And under those conditions, people cling more tightly to rigid boundaries about who belongs and who does not. Across contexts, the pattern is consistent. Leadership and institutions within our society shape who people see as deserving of protection and care. And moral concern expands or contracts in response. So, if attitudes toward moral concern and belonging begin to shift, it will likely follow changes in leadership, institutional and societal norms, and material conditions. It is not likely to come from a perfectly worded rebuttal to your MAGA-supporting uncle's argument at Thanksgiving dinner. So if you want to dig deeper into this topic, head over to my Substack. The link is in my bio.